today we're, well, tackling a story that's pretty much, I think, universal, right? Noah's Ark, the Great Flood.
Yeah, it's one of those that, a lot of people have at least heard of, even if they haven't actually read it.
Right, exactly. But we're going to go right to the source, Genesis chapter 7, and see what we can, what kind of details we can pull out. Because even if you think you know this story, I bet there's some things you've probably missed.
Oh, absolutely. There's always something new to discover when you really dig into these texts.
We're here to look at the text itself and see what it's telling us.
Exactly. It's like we're trying to understand the blueprint, Not necessarily like the actual building itself.
Okay, love it.
Yeah.
So right away, you see God's telling Noah what to do. And he's very specific.
Oh, yeah.
Build an ark. Got to gather the animals. And get this, he says 7 pairs of the clean animals and 1 pair of the unclean. Now hold on a minute.
Wait, we're already at the clean and unclean part.
Boom.
Okay.
That stuff becomes like really important later on, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
With the dietary laws and everything.
Yeah.
But here it is, way back in Genesis, before any of that, before Moses even. What's the deal with that?
Well, I think it's really interesting, It suggests that these categories, clean and unclean, they were already a thing. They already had meaning, even before there were any official laws about them. It's almost like there was this built-in understanding of like purity and order in the world, even before the flood comes along and kind of, shakes everything up.
Interesting. So it's not just about like what you can and can't eat.
Right, it's bigger than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So God's got the blueprints. Now he's setting the deadlines. Noah, you've got 7 days. 7 days to get this ark built and all the animals on board. 7 days.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of urgency there, right?
At a time.
It's not just like, hey, Noah, whenever you get around to it. This is like, get it done now.
That's a divine deadline you don't want to miss.
Yeah.
And then you start to notice the text gets really like precise.
Precise how?
Dates, numbers.
Oh, right.
Like we're told Noah's exact age, 600 years old.
600.
600. When the flood starts. And even the exact day, not just the year, the day.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? You don't see that level of detail in most ancient stories.
Right. Like why?
I don't know, it makes you wonder, maybe they were trying to make it feel more real, more historical, less like a myth and more like, hey, this really happened, we've got the dates to prove it, or maybe it's like a literary thing, to build suspense, like ticking clock, doomsday approach, that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So then boom, the flood hits.
Yeah.
And it's not just rain.
It
says the springs of the great deep burst forth. And at the same time, the floodgates of the heavens were opened. Whoa. It's like the whole world is coming apart at the seams.
That's some powerful imagery, right?
Yeah.
And you got to remember, this floodgates of heaven idea, that was a big deal back then.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You see it in a lot of ancient stories from all over that part of the world. It was like this ultimate symbol of the divine, of like God's power unleashed.
Whoa. So the rain, it comes down for 40 days and 40 nights. But here's the thing. The flood itself, it lasts for 150 days.
150.
It's a long time to be stuck on a boat with a bunch of animals.
Yeah, no kidding.
So is that just about the water level going down, or is there more to it?
Well, some people think that number 150, it's not just random. They see it as symbolic.
Oh.
Like maybe it connects to other time periods in the Bible, or maybe it's about purification, renewal, like a whole new world is being born.
So kind of like a reset button. Huh. And let's not forget, the text doesn't sugarcoat the impact. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died.
It's pretty stark, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, it really drives home the point that this is total, complete destruction.
It's almost like a blank slate. The world is wiped clean and then it can start over.
And then you get to this one line.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful, but it's kind of sad. Only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. Can you imagine that? Being Noah, looking out and seeing nothing but water.
It's almost like the weight of the whole world is on his shoulders.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah. It's like
Wow.
Everything that's going to come next, it all starts with him.
And that's what makes the next part so important, Because after the flood, God makes a covenant with Noah. And really, it's a covenant with all of humanity.
Right. A fresh start.
Exactly. So you have the instructions, the flood, the destruction, and then this new beginning. But it's all built on what came before.
So we see divine instructions. We see a global flood. We see Noah and his family and the animals surviving. I think it's pretty clear this story is about way more than just, just what happened.
Oh, for sure.
There are these big ideas in here: obedience, faith, judgment, and then ultimately renewal. It's like, if you were reading this for the first time, what would jump out at you? What would you take away from it? Something to think about as you kind of keep exploring this text. Because it's ancient, but it's also really complex.
Yeah, there's always more to discover. Thanks for coming along on this journey with us.
We encourage you to keep exploring this text. Read it, think about it, talk about it. Until next time, happy exploring.